I have been dealing with some friction lately. It can come from anywhere. It's just these little snags in our process that break us out of flow, or maybe it keeps us from getting there in the first place. But then there also is good friction. Oh, and there's why this means you shouldn't use AI in your creative process. It's robbing you, but not how you think. Friction is best friends with excuses. I'll think of a dozen problems keeping me from doing this or that project, all at least somewhat real. Real frictions that lead to fake excuses. Anyway, one of my frictions lately has been an overhead camera rig for this work area. Oh, they're expensive, they're bulky. I can't make this video because I don't have... Yeah, I just need to get down here and come up with something. Now, I should draw a distinction between friction and restriction. Friction isn't a problem to solve, thus engaging your creative mind. It's just a task, or maybe a problem, but one with a known solution. You just don't want to do it. I know I need an overhead camera rig. The problem is store-bought ones are expensive, they're fiddly, inconsistent. I know the solution is to just get down here and make a simple one. The problem isn't directly related to a project, it's a roadblock on the way to one. Now, restriction, on the other hand, comes in two varieties, natural and artificial. Natural is pretty easy. This is just your current skill level, tools you have at your disposal, monetary or time constraints, space constraints. These are the things you can't do much about, at least not right now, and so they're not something that you should really be thinking about. Acknowledge it and then move on as much as possible. Dwelling on natural restrictions only leads to more excuses, to if-onlys and maybe one-days. However, many times, restrictions are what gives a work its distinct character. Making a thing within the restriction of your innate ability or external circumstance is what allows for your own unique voice to emerge. Not because you were looking for it, but because it's the only way that you can. For this reason, many people find it helpful to impose artificial restrictions on themselves. This is a technique most often practiced by more experienced artists after they've overcome some of their natural restrictions. Without those walls to guide the creative process, they get stuck by paralysis of choice. So they come up with some limitations to hopefully spark some creative thinking. Now, this can be useful for, let's say, the overzealous beginner. A beginning painter goes and buys every color paint they can find, all the brushes, and they sit down to paint and freeze. They have no idea what colors to use, which brush. They don't have any restrictions there to guide them, and no experience. Musicians sample packs. You don't need 15 folders of snare hits. You need 2 or 3 samples you really like and just use them. Don't go scrolling every preset for the perfect synth or guitar sound either. Learning how and when to impose these restrictions is usually a sign of development in an artist's life. Limitless possibilities mean limitless outcomes, and you only need one outcome. If it really isn't the right one, you can do it again later, but you aren't going to figure that out ahead of time. Let's use a metaphor to tie this all together. A restriction is a path to walk, something to guide you and keep you from wandering off and getting lost in the woods. A friction is a tree down in the path. It isn't something that's beneficial to guide you, it's just something to deal with, to either climb over or clean up, or maybe you just give up and turn back. But there is another factor to this, and that's traction. Traction is just another word for friction. Yeah, the friction of a fallen tree might not be good for your scent, but the friction between your feet and the ground is the only way you're going to make it to the top of the hill. Unless you use friction reducers. Continuing the hill metaphor, if you take a chairlift to the top of a slope, you're going to see the same view as the person that hiked up it, but you won't appreciate the view as much as the hiker. Difficulty counts. Effort enhances our enjoyment of the outcomes. Some creative friction reducers. A woodworker gets a CNC machine and they start using it for everything. A photographer starts using insert famous photographer here's presets to edit all their photos. Someone who enjoys to cook starts buying pre-made meals. These are tools that are fine in their proper context. They might give you good or even better results, but offloading too much of our process onto them robs ourselves of the satisfaction of being able to stand back at the end of a project and say, I did that. And it minimizes the opportunity for your own creative voice to show through in the finished work. It ain't pretty, but I think it's gonna work. This is the danger with AI. There are many problems to be solved, but on the creative side, it's robbing artists. No, not like that. Most people talk about AI copying artists' work or taking their jobs or the work itself lacking soul. But I don't see these as being the biggest problems. For one, AI will only get better at mimicking human idiosyncrasies. And two, maybe a marketing department aside, I don't think people that were buying human-made art before are stopping now because they can get AI art. People want things made by other people. No, AI is robbing artists by being the great friction reducer. If you use AI to make a work, to save time or to get better results, you've robbed yourself of the satisfaction of effort. You'll offload your creative process until there's no process left to enjoy. We get into these things because we like doing them. But pressure to save time, be more efficient, use the best tools, makes these friction reducers seem like we're just getting with the times, staying ahead of the curve. But unless you're careful, you aren't making anymore. You're commissioning a piece with edits. Now, there is another factor with AI art and why there are such big proponents of it. I have a theory on that too that relates to addiction and excuses and consumer culture and guilt. But that's a topic for a whole other video. But to wrap all of this up, no one can tell you the right amount of friction reduction in your workflow. It's something you just kind of have to experiment, figure out for yourself the frictions that halt your workflow and the frictions that keep you engaged and satisfied with the process. Everyone is different, but just remember that effort counts. A machine-made piece might actually be better than a handcrafted piece, but no one is going to be willing to spend more on a machine-made piece because we value effort and skill in our own work and the work of others. We value the soul put into a piece by wrenching it out of the raw materials. I've knocked out this excuse for not making videos and working on projects at least. If you want to see it in action, stick around for the next videos. Okay, I'm sorry. I have to at least do a test shot. I can't make this whole contraption in this video and then not at least show you that it does work. So here's the first little test shot, just checking the framing and seeing that it's going to work good. I look forward to using this a lot more on some upcoming projects. In the meantime, thank you for coming by and hanging out. I'm Skylar, this is Rumbella Works, and I'll see you soon.